Looks like a little shih tzu.
I really thought Mango would be doing more for the podcast. She's not doing the numbers she said she would.
Yeah. Listen, her agent promised us a certain figure, and she didn't hit it.
Exactly.
And listen, maybe now is not the best time to bring that up.
But, I think we need to discuss Mango's contract. I need us to start this episode by discussing Mango's contract.
Yeah.
Because I think we're getting fucked.
Yeah.
I think she's fucking us.
Yeah, and honestly, if this weren't my final resource, I wouldn't do it this way. I hate doing it this way. I hate being dramatic. I hate doing this in screen, in front of the fans, in front of everyone. But
she's so hard to work with.
Yeah.
She's such a diva.
It's incredible. It's actually astounding.
Also, she beats us. Welcome to Mango, Donovan, and Bobo's Void.
Yeah.
Today I want to talk about social media. We recently moved to TikTok, and since we've made that move, we've been talking a lot about social media. We both hate social media, and that's not unique. That's not a unique take. We all hate social media.
Right.
But we have a lot of specific gripes with social media.
Yeah.
This episode is us complaining.
Yeah.
This podcast is us complaining.
Yeah.
I think TikTok is an interesting format. And I hate all social media. I think TikTok is a little bit better. Maybe it's because it comes from a communist government, but we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. But specifically, I want to talk about a really significant leap in art and in culture that I think is very much taken for granted, which is the transition from horizontal screens to vertical screens. The shift from horizontal to vertical is really felt when you're an artist, but I think it's still one that affects everyone.
Yeah.
The conception of moving images was on a really big horizontal screen that took up a lot of space. And now we've gone from a really tiny vertical screen that takes up very little space, but emphasizes different things. I think the horizontal screen emphasizes the foreground, the background.
Yeah, the setting.
It also, the setting, it gives priority to context.
Yeah.
The vertical screen is very black and white. It lacks nuance.
Yeah.
It's very dramatic. It's very microscopic too.
Yeah.
And it emphasizes the body.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the form.
Yeah.
And I want us to talk about how that affects how we relate to one another, how we perceive one another, and how we perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
I want to discuss the effects of towering over very little screens in which we perceive humans very, very close up. Because we used to watch humans on large screens.
Yeah.
But from afar, we had some distance between us and the celebrity, or between, and I mean physical distance.
Yeah.
So there's all of these physical changes to the way that we relate to screens, and as a result to each other and to celebrity and just to all of the constructs that were created by media at large.
Yeah.
And that's completely shifted.
Yeah.
And where are we now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel am I just thinking too much into this? Am I being an insufferable film critic bro to analyze the world in this way? But when you remember that Hitler was a media man.
Yes.
Or Kim Jong-il was in charge of the media apparatus in North Korea. So you realize how much
so was
images,
Mussolini.
Yeah, you realize that the best fascists are filmmakers.
Yes.
They're good at crafting images.
Yes.
Before Hitler became chancellor of the Weimar Republic, he created a style guide for the entire Nazi aesthetic. It was 357 pages. It's so robust with every little detail. It's your shoe has to look like this, but the pant leg has to sit. It's an aesthetic.
Yes.
And something we've talked about in the past is we end up living inside of a lot of white men's ideas. A white man in Silicon Valley has an idea. And fast forward 5 years, we live inside of it.
Yes, yeah.
And screens are really important because, like you said, the transition from the vertical screen to the horizontal screen, aligning with basically the digital sex work economy, which is show us the goods.
Interesting.
That TikTok vertical 16:9 format is show me the goods.
Yeah, only.
Show me the face.
Yeah.
Show me the body.
Yeah.
No context.
Yes.
Nothing.
No foreground.
Yeah.
No background. Let's just get straight to it.
Yeah.
And and the it being the body.
Yeah.
The emphasis on the body.
And like we spend so much time shitting on art or praising art, and we don't really think about like the context of something. Like sometimes the art isn't in the thing, it's actually in its surrounding, right? So it's like,
wait, what do you mean by that?
a spoon in a kitchen isn't a piece of art, but a spoon on a blank canvas is art. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's something is about the context, not inherently the thing.
Yes.
Sometimes. And there's this movie we both really like, 8th Grade.
Yeah.
And something directed by Bo Burnham, genius person. And something he did very well is like, you know, when you're a kid, your problems feel really big. Even though it's like, oh, someone said something mean on Facebook, but like that feels really big to you when you're a girl in the 8th grade. And like putting that problem or that girl's story on a huge screen in a movie theater for like adults to sit and look up at. And like, you know, like fully, like this girls' problems are important now. That like they're on a big screen. So it doesn't matter if it's about like social media, like little shit that we view as trivial. When you put it on a big screen, you set the precedent
says something about
of this is important. And the things that we are determining are important now are kind of terrifying. Because like we've chosen a format that is just locked off, face, titties, ass.
Yes. But what does it mean that it's on a tiny screen? And what does it mean that we are constantly towering over each other?
Right.
So post-COVID and even before COVID, there's been very little social interaction. We all live literally inside of our screens. We live inside of our screens, which means we interact and engage with each other through our screens. And what does it mean that we are now engaging with each other by towering over each other and talking to each other through these tiny screens? Like what does that do for like community as a construct? Like what does that do for like friendship? What does that do for relationships? Like we talk often about friendships on this podcast and about, more importantly, the collapse of friendship. The collapse of friendships has coincided with the transition from IRL interactions to interacting with each other on tiny vertical screens that we tower over. Could friendship ever thrive in this paradigm where this is the premise, this thing is the premise of how we engage with each other?
And we've become so much worse as a result, as friends, right? It's like you look at our parents' generation, you know, say one of them is going through a divorce, they call up their friend, they're crying, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, Henry, he's just really, I think this is my last straw, I gotta leave. And it's a phone conversation, so you're hearing each other's voices, you know, you're hearing the emotion in someone's voice, you're really feeling that, you're having a human experience. Before phones, it'd be in person, even better, right? You're hearing it and you're seeing it, the countenance on that person's face. And like, but these days, you text your friend like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to break up with Henry. And then your friend replies, yo, damn, that's crazy. Because it was just a little thing that popped up on a little screen. There was nothing physical. There was nothing tactile. There was no real connection. You couldn't hear the tears in someone's voice. You couldn't. It was just something that popped up on a screen. So they treated it like it was something that popped up on a screen. And like we have to stop doing that.
And then we all get offended.
And then we just all become shittier. Now we're just a bunch of damn, that's crazy ass niggas. That's what the phone has done to emotional labor. It's just damn, that's crazy.
The rise of the phrase emotional labor. Emotional labor used to be defined as labor that care workers do, like people in nurturing industries, like literally people who do this for a job. Therapists, social workers, nurses, like that's what emotional labor used to be. Now, emotional labor is having to listen to your friend's problems on a Thursday. And
without cash apping them.
Without, you know, without some form of transaction happening. Without first requesting an appointment. This is going to be a really controversial, people are going to hate me for this take. Friendship has gone from, bitch, you can show up at my house anytime, roll up on me, whatever you need, like I've got. And I'm not saying that boundaries are bad, but friendship used to be a safe space. Now friendship is an appointment. It's an appointment that you make with someone. And how coincidental that coincided with the rise of the tiny vertical screen. Let's discuss.
That's very interesting. Something I find is that as tech becomes a bigger part of our lives, we like assume its traits, and you see it in the way we talk.
Yeah.
It's like someone will ask you to do some emotional labor, and you'll be like, oh, I don't really have the bandwidth for that right now. It's like, why are you referring to yourself like a phone?
Yeah.
It's like the bigger these things become a part of our lives. I noticed it with men too, even with like a lot of the incel shit we've been talking about recently.
Yeah.
Everything is like W-L. That's a W. That's a L, as in like a win or a loss.
Interesting.
All comments are just like W. Everything is
Yeah.
this black and white box that can either be ascribed as a W or an L. Because you're a fucking 20-year-old boy who's been playing video games his entire life. Everything that's ever happened to you has been a 1 or a 0, a W or L. How much is lost in that?
So much.
How much
of
is
like
lost
the human experience.
We flattened it.
Yes.
We fully flattened it. And this is something else I want to talk about, because do you think social media has made us less interesting?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that social media has not only flattened the human experience, it's also created cute little boxes for it.
What do you mean?
So, in flattening the experience, and I refer to social media as an advertising tool, because that is what it is.
Yeah.
It might be sold to us as like a networking tool, a way to connect with your friends.
Yeah.
No, it's an advertising tool for corporations to better sell things to you. That's what social media is. And so when you know that that's what it is, you also know that the best way to advertise to people is to put them into little boxes in which you can categorize them.
Yeah.
You put women into this box,
Yeah.
and in this box goes pink things, makeup, beauty.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That's
Yeah.
honestly most of it.
Yeah.
It's just, in this box is sex, makeup, beauty, pink, frilly, household, and then in the mailbox you have blue, cars, macho, you know, and it's so
Bugattis.
Bugatti, Ferrari. It's so easy to sell to people once you put them into little boxes that neat little things fit into. And so that's
and
the first thing.
We welcome it.
We
the problem is
love
that we
it.
welcome. We love a little tag.
We love
a
little
thing.
box.
Yeah.
We love identity.
Yeah.
Identity. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh my God.
Hoes love identity. But the thing with the rise of boxes, as I'll refer to it as that, is that it also came with the destruction of the self. So with the increase in popularity of identity, with the rise of identity as a construct, comes the destruction or the death of the self. Because the more you embody these identities that have nothing to do with you, actually, like blackness is not a real identity. It's a construct created by white people to better assert dominance and control over you. But it's not real. It's not
and
actually...
by the way, people get really mad when I say this because they don't get that I'm being literal. Like, for example, my sister's a bit lighter than me. She came to visit us in South Africa the other day. And she's not black here.
She's colored.
She's a colored one. That's a completely different construct. People come up to her, they speak a different... And it's like, I'm not trying to be some, like, heady anti... I'm just saying,
it's
like...
quite literally...
It's quite literally a construct that you can get on a 16-hour flight and be a different thing.
Yeah, Trevor Noah talks about this often. That blackness in South Africa and blackness in America are so different. They are so vastly different. That is enough to let you know that race was never real to begin with. So there's that. So identity is not real. It's a construct that's created by its creator to assert dominance and control over certain groups. So when someone calls you a woman, they're not referring to you as this existential, deeply spiritual construct that embodies and best defines who you are in this. No, they're referring to you as a construct that was created to better control you, because now I understand you, and now I put you in a box that is easily identifiable and looks a certain way and is also unchangeable and unmovable and fixed. And once you embody that, you're just nothing more than a consumer. You are just the means to which people can sell things to. You are the vehicle for advertising. And once you are that
Yeah.
a vehicle for advertising, you're dead.
Yeah, and that is always
You
the
live in
final,
bad faith and you've died.
That is always the final stage of alienation. When I have been so robbed of my ability to find any meaning and fulfillment in my work, in my labor, in anything, that all I can do is consume because fulfillment is off the table.
Yeah.
And that is what identity is. The more little checkpoints they got on you,
Yeah.
then the more fucking data points Jeff has to throw some
Yeah.
shit on your For You page.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're doing here. When I'm online too much, I really have to get outside and touch some grass because I just feel like everybody's a fucking bot these days.
Yes, yes,
Like niggas just have bot talking points.
Yes.
But-
You know exactly what someone is gonna say before
Yeah.
they've even opened their mouth to.
Yeah.
But you know exactly what they're gonna say just by everything they've written in their bio.
Yeah, niggas
By the
are
way,
bots.
by the way you've described yourself in your Instagram bio, I already
Yeah.
know all of your. I hate ideology. Ideology has killed us.
Yeah.
We've died.
And not to say everyone, like, I think maybe the reason people appreciate this podcast and why we appreciate the people who listen to this podcast is
Yeah.
people, we just realize, like, hey, we're not bots.
Yeah,
You know, they
yes,
realize
yeah.
we're not bots, we realize they're not bots. You guys
Yeah.
have unique opinions.
Yeah.
You say things that I haven't heard before.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
yeah.
like, in a video game, there's something called the dialogue tree, where it's like you insert a piece of dialogue and they respond something. And then it's like everything is just this predictable little tree of dialogue.
Interesting.
And when you look at people's opinions, whether it be about politics or gender or
Yeah.
art, it's just like I know exactly what stimuli I will
Yes,
input and
yes.
exactly what you will say.
Yes.
And that's terrifying me because it's a testament to how much we flattened the whole human experience.
Yeah.
People used to be unique.
Yeah.
They used to have their own little personalities because
Yeah.
you were from your own little place
Yeah.
that had your own little slang.
With your own little nuances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Your
then
own little neighborhood. But now the neighborhood is dead because it's been replaced by the metaverse.
Yeah.
And like we all share the same metaverse, so how could we be any different?
Yeah.
If we're all products of our environment and our environment is the same little stupid metaverse.
Yeah.
How could we be any different from each other?
And I saw this really in what I viewed as like the transition out of the woke era, which is kind of where we're in now.
Yeah.
Which is like we got hyper obsessed with identity in pursuit of like being a good person. Because being a good person is really hard, right? It's
Interesting.
like being a good person is doing volunteer work. It's,
Yeah.
it's handing out sandwiches at a homeless shelter. It's giving someone you personally know money to help them pay their rent. It's seeing a GoFundMe. And being a good person is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the internet kind of gave us this opportunity to like feel like good people by kind of just being vindictive on the internet.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like generalize. And I
No,
don't wanna,
no, talk that
but
shit.
like, you guys know that like maybe that's a part of causing some societal change. It can be, but that's not being. You're not Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
You're
because
not
you cancelled someone.
right. Like you're
Yeah.
not tactily making the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless, you know, there are some internet communities that do very specific things that really do make a change in the world.
Yeah.
But, like, they do that with intention. And it's like, hey, we're doing this to raise $300,000 for Palestinian kids.
Yeah.
They do something real.
Yeah.
But most of the virtue signaling era was completely hollow. And it got to a point where we were kind of all done with it because
Yeah.
we realized, like, this is making us all miserable and
Yeah.
not actually affecting any positive change.
Wow, yeah.
But now we're sort of at the end of that. And now everyone just seems really individualistic. And as much as people shit on the woke era, I almost long for it because at least we felt attached to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Now people just feel super hedonistic and like individualistic to me. What do you think?
I completely agree. Well, I think there's a few things happening. So the first is that we've become hyper individualistic more so than ever because we spend more time looking at ourselves, perceiving ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, we not only
Yeah.
waste our time scrolling through other people's stories, but how much time do we
Yeah.
also spend taking pictures of ourselves,
It's insane.
going through those pictures, editing those pictures,
disgusting.
uploading those pictures, going back to the comments of those pictures? So much of our time, more than ever,
Yeah.
throughout human history, do we spend perceiving ourselves.
Yeah.
How could we not become so narcissistic
Yeah.
and self-aggrandizing
Yeah.
and self-obsessed?
Yeah.
We're just a generation of narcissists.
Yeah.
And how could that not be the case when we spend so much time
Yeah.
towering over the digital pixelated versions of ourselves, consuming ourselves,
Yeah.
perceiving ourselves?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that's made us so self-aggrandizing, narcissistic, and self-obsessed. The second is that if I'm perceiving myself, towering over myself constantly, I quite literally have less time in the day to perceive you or other people.
Yes.
This now means I spend more time, literal just hours in the day, thinking about myself. Not only just thinking about how to present myself and how others are thereby perceiving myself, but also just the act of looking at yourself. You go from looking at yourself in the mirror to looking at yourself through a lens on a camera to looking at yourself through a screen. There's so many more mediums through which perception of self can occur that like the literal time and space occupied in your mind is now just self. So that leaves less time for the other. So now community is dead. Community has died. Collectivism is dead. And this is the rise of the individual. With the rise of the individual can only come the rise of hedonism. Hedonism is an ideology of self. It's about maximizing pleasure for self. Unlike Stoicism, which is much more about the other. It's about like contrast. It's about suffering externally and withholding it internally. You know, like hedonism is about maximizing external stimuli for internal pleasure of the self. And just the amount of time and space that we have for the other is dead. So now the other represents labor. What we feel and like how we engage with the other is quite literally laborious. We view human interactions as a job. So now friendship is dead. Friendship is dead because me interacting with you is inherently laborious because I want to spend the majority of my time on the self and you are a distraction from the amount of time I need to spend on myself. So now you are inherently a job. That's now made us view each other as moral obligations. Like, what is a job in society? The construct of a job is something I have to do in order to A, contribute to society, but also live. So now we view each other as obligations. You are not just a friend, you're a moral obligation. You're someone I have to engage with. Just like for me to be able to do the things I need to do. And so now we all resent each other because I know that I perceive you as a job and thereby I know that you perceive me as a job and now I'm offended. I'm offended and resentful of you.
And it's because you spend all that energy on your goddamn self. Looking at yourself, thinking about yourself, listening to yourself.
And something that we talk about often as like people who have to literally do this for a living, we have to go record ourselves while shooting ourselves and then we must go edit ourselves and then we must go upload ourselves and then engage with the comments of us. It's so much work. And I've often not understood how people do social media for free. If I wasn't getting paid for this, I would never.
Never, bro.
It's something that you say often because you're a very charitable and philanthropic person, is that true spiritual rest is charity. It's like taking a break from yourself. The reason we're all burnt out currently is because we spend so much time on ourselves and time spent on self is exhausting. And we don't know because capitalism doesn't incentivize this. But the only rest from the self is other people. It's like community. It's like doing some shit for other people. But this is like something that you talk about quite often. And like how a lot of your feeling burnt out is because of how much time as a musician and also as a podcaster you have to spend on yourself.
It's not it. It's you said it right, where it's like there's multiple different kinds of rest. And something I find very contradictory of this whole kind of wellness, rest, self-care,
how individualistic is it?
It's individualistic, but it's also just playing yourself when you understand what real rest is. Real rest is taking a break from thinking about yourself.
At all.
And it's also just where it's like some people truly need self-care, right? When I see like black women running with self-care, I get it because you guys genuinely do kind of dedicate your whole lives to taking care of other people. Something I find so funny about like self-care blowing up in kind of the white Western white capital F feminism space is like, that's what you thought the problem was?
No, honestly.
That you guys need to think about yourselves more?
More than you already do.
That's the problem with America. That
Like-
people don't think about themselves enough.
Are you mad?
Right. And then you realize by living a very self-obsessed life, which I've done, you know,
Yeah.
like I've really
Well, that's our jobs. Yeah.
done it all in the sense that like I was once a teacher teaching autistic kids in the Bronx for no money at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And I was more fulfilled and more well-rested mentally because for an hour a day, I was doing something so hard
Yeah.
and like so challenging, but also so fulfilling that I just wasn't thinking about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're not thinking about yourself, it's like taking your brain out of your body and letting it get a little massage.
Yeah.
And you might be doing something hard and challenging, and it might not be about you.
Yeah.
It might not pay a lot, but at least your brain just gets to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
self-obsession, the self-hate,
Treadmill.
because you're just not thinking about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea that I need to get more rest by thinking about me more, for most of you niggas, it's just not the case.
It's insane.
A lot of you niggas need to hand out a goddamn sandwich to the homeless.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what will make you feel rested.
Yes.
That's
No,
what will clear up
actually.
your skin.
Yeah,
That's what will get the
yes.
bags. Like, if you
Yeah.
just stopped thinking about yourself, scrolling through your own timeline.
For an hour a day.
And thought about someone else, you would like yourself more.
Mm.
You'd get better sleep. So many things would be better because we live in such an individualistic culture. We think all solutions to any problems come through the individual. And that's insane.
Yeah,
The cult
yeah.
of the individual is insane. You have the solution to all of your problems.
It's
you?
you. Small you.
It's
Come
insane.
On. Yeah.
But like we've basically kind of not made charity cringe, but when you suggest it to people, it's like, nah, but be serious.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the woke era?
Yeah.
Where it was like, hey guys, you know, you guys are bringing up some valid points, but like, these are phones made by slaves.
Yes.
And then the
yeah.
response was like, yeah, but be serious. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have
Yeah.
phones made, but it's like, you know, we give up so easily.
Yeah.
On
yeah.
like any real, you know, praxis, like any real actual action, you know, any like mutual aid, walking the talk.
Yeah.
We view that as like inherently kind of like absurd, like you're not being serious.
Yeah.
But it's like that's
Well,
the only
yeah.
thing that's serious. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Complaining on the goddamn internet?
Yeah. And
No.
taking pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that like, you know, you don't need to like discuss these things and we don't need to like shift culture through talk and stuff, but like
Yeah.
understand that it really doesn't matter. If you're
Yeah,
not gonna go
yes.
hand out, you know, sandwiches to the homeless, nothing matters. Like nothing
It
you
doesn't
post
matter.
on Mark Zuckerberg's website will ever matter.
I noticed that. So I used to work in fashion, and that's why I moved to New York. I moved to New York so that I could build a career for myself in fashion.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was an influencer and a model, and I think I could only do about 2 years of it before
Yeah,
I actually
God,
was
it's so
about to kill
hollow.
myself.
It's so
It's
hollow.
actually the most hollow, empty job
Yeah.
that you could ever do in your life. I actually think it should be unethical
Yeah.
for anyone to be a model because of how much it kills not only you but the people around you.
Yeah.
And like when I was thinking about how much blood was on my hands by participating in this industry,
Yeah.
just on an ecological level,
Yeah.
the amount of clothing in landfill,
The amount of women that die of eating disorders.
the amount of
like,
women that die of eating disorders,
Yeah.
the amount of women that die making the clothes that are sold with eating disorders.
Yeah.
Like there's so much blood on my hands
Yeah.
and all for some likes
Right.
on an algorithm created by an incel in Silicon Valley that created an app to rate women for his own dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill women for that. Are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
actually no,
Yeah.
like are you mad?
Yeah.
Are you sick?
Yeah.
And I found that like anytime I would bring this up to people, they would
Yeah.
think that I'm absurd.
Or like people say it out in the open, right? Like
Yeah.
Jay-Z owns like a decently sized share of Fenty, right? And
Yeah.
he has this new hyper-capitalist verse he put out. He has
Yeah.
this bar where he goes like, we pushing Fenty like fentanyl. The shit is all legitimate.
Yeah.
It's like, nigga, you know what you're doing.
You know that
You know
Fenty
you're
is
still
drugs?
selling drugs.
Yes.
And you're like proud. He's fucking,
Yeah.
he just said it out loud.
Yeah.
And no one bats a fucking eye at it.
So-
And then women die of eating disorders.
Yeah.
And then fucking landfill, you got the fucking turtles, got the shirt wrapped around their head.
Yeah.
And it's like, and niggas just say that, and like, to point it out, you look insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I have the answers. I'm just saying, can we talk about this at dinner?
Yeah, yes,
You know?
yeah.
I'm not saying.
Can I not be gaslit into thinking I'm crazy for pointing out that the fashion industry is genocidal?
Yeah.
It's run by a bunch of genocidal psychopaths
Yeah.
who kill millions of women every year.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
And not be gaslit into believing that that's dramatic. Am I being dramatic by pointing out the facts?
A lot of what we're describing, though, is kind of the, oh, sorry, there was a bug.
Yeah, that was a really big beat.
We're kind of describing the Mark Fisher late capitalism thing, but it's really like late social media, just in the sense that, like, he talks about not being able to imagine a world past capitalism, but more impactfully, I don't think we can imagine a world past social media. And it's crazy because it's actually only been like 10 years.
Yeah.
And we already like cannot imagine a world without it. And like, I'm someone, I don't know, I went about a year and a half just not being on social media at all. Just living life, getting back in tune with myself. And it's like, you actually find yourself developing a real personality again.
Yes, yeah.
Because I'm not thinking, what will this mean to other people? Who will this upset? Who will like this? I'm just thinking, well, what do I think?
Yeah, yeah.
And I no longer have these reference points of like, well, this is the woke opinion. This is the
Yeah,
problematic.
yeah,
I'm just thinking,
yeah.
well, with my own anecdotal experience and whatever statistic or news I can look up, what do I think is true?
Yeah.
And like, that's the only way to become a real person again. It's the only way to go from being a bot to being, it's to just unplug, touch some grass.
Yeah.
Think, hey, what do I think about this?
No.
I don't care what's woke. I don't care what's right wing, left. I just
What do I care?
What do I see in the world,
Yeah.
and what does actual evidence back? What are real people saying?
Yeah, and not what do I care in relation to my race and my gender and the ideology that I'm supposed to embody because of my race and my gender. No, just what do I care about this? Like, what do I think about this?
And we live in like the most reactionary time ever, and it's insufferable that people don't clock what they're doing, because I was always of the belief that like, if you tell me what to do and I do it, I'm a tool. But if you tell me what to do and I do the exact opposite, I'm still a tool.
Yeah,
I'm still just reacting to your stimuli.
Yes, I've still centered you.
Yeah. So when like the media gets really woke and then niggas go all the way full white nationalists, bringing back the Holy Roman Empire, it's just like, you're a tool.
Yeah.
You talk about like all these mindless sheep, they just go with anything woke. Well, now you go with everything fucking Joe Rogan says, because you're a fucking tool too.
Yes.
The only way to not be a tool is to not be reactionary.
Yeah.
Touch some grass.
Yes.
Think about the world and come up with your own opinion. And only then will I listen to it.
Yes.
Because everyone is saying the exact same 5 things.
All the time.
No original opinions.
No, I often think about how profound it is that Mango doesn't care about the next door neighbor's opinion on kibble.
Yeah.
She just likes her type of kibble.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about the next door neighbor's opinion on mangoes, on bananas. She just wants a fucking banana.
Yeah.
And she wants it and she likes it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care if Marshmallow hates bananas. She doesn't care if Salsa hates, but Salsa's her best friend who lives next door. It's like, Mango is profound.
Yeah.
She just doesn't, she's unaffected. She's not perturbed by like the wind of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
She really just moves to the drum of her own chaotic beat.
Yeah. We're just losing something. And I hope other people feel like we're losing a part of ourselves. I feel it as
Well,
a
we're
musician.
losing all of ourselves.
Yeah.
The thing we're losing is the self.
Something I really like about South African music is because they don't use streaming platforms here. They don't make music cater to it.
Yeah.
So the house songs will have these really, really long intros
Yeah.
that are just like so unalgorithm. Like Spotify would hate it because it
Yeah.
takes like 4 minutes to get to the hook. But like, when you're looking for a human experience, you're looking for a full story.
Yeah.
And a full story, it doesn't always hook you right away.
Yeah,
A full story doesn't
yeah.
always have this perfect 16-bar hook, like whatever structure. Sometimes a story is just supposed to take you on a roller coaster. Sometimes it's supposed to start really slow and boring.
Yeah,
And then when
yeah.
it pays off, it's extra interesting because it started so slow and boring. And it's like if, Mozart was fucking posting the first 5 seconds of his symphony on TikTok being like, yo, y'all niggas fuck with this?
Yeah.
Then we might not have gotten some of the greatest shit. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
cannot be thinking about the audience when you create. And it's a big problem that I have with so many artists where I'll watch them post their videos or I'll watch them perform and I'm like, I see you hoping you do well.
Yeah.
I'm watching you perform.
Yes.
And I'm listening to your music. I'm watching your music video and I'm watching you hope
Yes.
that your doing well.
Yes.
And I hate that. I want to watch someone in a flow state. I want to watch someone not give a fuck. I want to watch someone be on. I don't want to watch someone
honesty. You're asking
on
for
stage
honesty.
thinking about their TikTok comments.
Yes.
I don't want to listen to someone podcast thinking about their it's so boring.
It's so boring. Well, yeah, that is the thing that we lose when the self dies, is the truth.
Yeah.
So we've also lost, like, just honesty.
Yeah.
And with the loss of honesty came the death of art.
Yeah.
Because isn't that what art is?
Yeah.
It's just like, here's raw honesty.
Yeah.
But you can't have honesty in a profit-driven art industry.
Yeah.
Where you have to get a certain number of likes in order to get a certain number of dollars in order to pay your rent. And, like, there's no honesty in that society.
Yeah.
And I noticed, too, that, like, the first time I started feeling burnt out, and burnout is...
We need to do a whole episode.
We need to do a whole episode on burnout, because burnout is a very fascinating phenomena.
Yeah.
And it's subject to time and space, you know? And I noticed that I thought the reason I was burnt out is because I was working so much. When in reality, the reason I was burnt out when I was working in fashion as an influencer is because I spent so much of my time thinking and perceiving and curating myself.
Yeah.
And, like, being self-obsessed, unless you're a narcissist, but being self-obsessed is exhausting, and that is the number one cause of burnout. Like, that's my thesis.
I agree.
Of this episode.
I completely agree.
Burnout, we think, is caused by you're working yourself too hard. You're spending too many hours at work. You're helping too many of your friends. You're doing too much emotional labor. When in reality, you're burnt out because you spend so much of your time curating, editing, thinking about, and perceiving yourself.
Yeah.
You not only perceive yourself in your three-dimensional form, looking in the mirror, touching yourself, dressing yourself, and then you go from doing that to now taking pictures of yourself, uploading yourself, curating yourself, editing yourself as a pixelated self.
Yeah.
We've cut ourselves into half, where we used to just be physical selves, and now we're both physical and pixelated.
Yeah.
We're physical and three-dimensional.
Yeah.
So there's now just there's 2 times more of the self to worry about.
Yeah.
You not only have to worry about your physical self, you also have to worry about your three-dimensional pixelated self that's being constantly perceived and performing for the gaze of other people.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, and that's why you're burnt out.
Yeah.
If we were to take our phones, and I love that we're talking about this through a phone, but if we took our phones, threw them in the ocean, how much less burnt out would we be?
Yeah.
Like, truly, how much less time would we have for other people? Because that is the true rest. It's the time that we spend tending to other people, thinking about other people, engaging with other people. That is rest from the burden of the self.
Yeah.
And that rest is, like, actually the cure for burnout.
The thing, too, is everyone is on this endless quest for, like, self-optimization, self-actualization. Everyone's trying to tell you to chase a dream. Go chase your dream.
Yeah.
But what the fuck is a dream under capitalism?
What is it,
It's an aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's an aesthetic. When you think about your dream, you're thinking about getting that fit off at the Grammys and seeing this number of likes and this. That's an aesthetic, not for you, for people witnessing you.
Yeah.
It is a path for misery. And when you think about the way this Sisyphean economic model works, is that when all you have in your life is a journey, when that's the main thing in your life, I want to get to the mountaintop, I want to win this award, I want to have this many followers, I want to get this much money. When you achieve that, you will have nothing. Because that's all you ever thought about. That's all you ever pursued. That's all you ever nurtured. So the second you accomplish that dream, that is the moment that you have nothing.
Yes.
Because you didn't invest in any interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, in anything real.
You didn't do anything real. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience. I spent my late teens and all of my early 20s trying to become an artist and investing so much money and so much time into curating this digital image of myself.
Same.
And it was successful, and I felt nothing.
Yeah, same.
It was nothing. It's fucking nothing.
At all.
It's so hollow, it's funny.
No, it's yeah.
It's like, that's what shows like BoJack Horseman and shit are about, where it's like fame and success is so hollow.
So empty.
When you don't have love in your life, when you don't have friends, we're social animals. The only reason why going to the Grammys would be fun is if you're going with your fucking friends.
Exactly.
That were with you in the basement.
Yes.
That's what would, as a social mammal, that is what would make that experience rewarding.
Yeah.
Getting there alone, which now you have to get there alone because you have to fuck over everyone you know to get there, is inherently going to make you want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
That will be the moment that you have nothing. That'll be the moment that you realize, wow, this was what I was fighting for. I sacrificed everything to get this, and now I've accomplished this.
Yes.
And it's an aesthetic that everyone else is witnessing, while the aesthetic I'm witnessing is like
being in a tour bus for 8 hours.
Or the echo of my huge but now lonely marble home. That's my aesthetic. My aesthetic is echo. My aesthetic is like cold environments because no one else lives here with me. My aesthetic is cars going back and forth. People asking me for things. No one thinks about like, what's the aesthetic I want for my life? Not the one that I want other people to witness. The one that I want.
The one I'm going to experientially live in. And not the one that others are going to aesthetically witness.
Because I promise you'll be miserable.
And what is a dream? Like, what is... Social media has given us the illusion that our dreams are so big. They're a million likes. But it's not. Because likes aren't love, and admiration is not synonymous with love. Likes are actually just pixels on a screen. It's nothing that you, in your physical reality, even get to engage with. You'll never even meet the people who like your pictures. They also, you are a fraction of a second in their day scrolling through millions of other pixels on a screen. They don't humanize you. They don't know you. They don't care. Those million likes are nothing. They don't do anything.
Something like I wish people knew is how much easier what people call happiness is to get than they think it is. You know, we were making this joke the other day about how like I want to be like the spiritual Andrew Tate, where I like hop out of a Bugatti but then tell niggas to work on their mommy issues. Because it's like, you don't need a Bugatti. You just have to, you know, like your mom didn't really hug you enough. And you know, you didn't get enough attention as a kid, and you can go to therapy or do mushrooms and work on that. You don't need $1 million.
Honestly.
To fill that void of worthlessness, or to fill that void of... Like, things are so much quicker to achieve than you
less
think.
Convoluted.
Okay, so knowing all that we know, everything that we've talked about, and how it's ruined us psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally. Where do you think social media is going? Do you think we keep doing this?
We keep doing it.
Oh, God damn it.
We keep doing it until our death. We walk right into it. Because isn't social media also just a great tool to distract from the collapsing physical reality?
It really is.
The more time we spend in the metaverse, the less time we spend yelling at Jeff and Coca-Cola for destroying our physical reality. Because we no longer live in it. So how convenient is it? You know, it's so cheap, and it's such a just... It's a convenient way for the billionaires who destroy the planet to just throw us into another reality so that they don't have to take accountability for destroying this.
We're at such a meta place where it's like, you can't even comment on it without being cringe because you sound like, yo, we live in a society. But nigga, we live in a society! Like, this shit is so dystopian and insane. Or it's so like, everyone's on their phone. Now it's like, I get it, because like, it's such a... you know, like surface level take on things. Like, oh, the problem is but it's like, we need to find a way to talk about it without coming off as like cringe. Because like, if we're not constantly analyzing it, then they win. If we're not constantly analyzing and self-reflecting on our own behavior, we end up living in these Silicon Valley salamander tech fucks wildest dreams. And the only way to resist it is to be conscious of every swipe, every comment, everything you engage with, everything you don't engage with. So we need to be this critical of it. You know? But it's like some Mark Fisher late stage capitalism shit where it's like, I don't know if we can imagine a world beyond it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think those of us who can should like opt out when we can and forgive those who can't.
Yeah.
Because it's a drug.
Yeah.
Can we also admit that social media is also quite literally a drug?
Yeah.
And like, people don't come back from drugs sometimes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, people you're just rude.
It's also a
euphoria.
privilege to be off it. I hate
Yeah.
people that are like, yo, just go outside and touch the ground.
Yeah.
Nigga, I need to post this Fashion Nova fit to eat.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
some people need
Yeah.
to use the internet to pay their bills.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
No, we are those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You think, if I could get off this shit,
Listen.
oh my God.
Listen.
I would never
be
turn this shit on again.
Ever.
Again.
It's such a job.
Yeah.
I need people who...
She's so annoying.
Mango, you're at work right now, and this is extremely unprofessional.
Okay.
Can you sit over here, Mango? Good girl, baby. Yeah. I need people who just use social media for free to explain what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
Oh, I think she's just hot.
Oh, are you hot, little baby? Okay. We can wrap up.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it. Mango's hot, so we need to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, where do you think this goes as a final note?
This might be a bigger deal than climate change because we will mentally collapse.
Yeah,
like
no, it's
we
the death
are
of
chimps
humanity.
designed to process about 30 to 35 people's opinions on us. And we're taking in too much data.
Yes, yeah.
And we're overloading.
Yeah.
Overloading can look like narcissism. It can look like schizophrenia. It can look like paranoia. It can look like anxiety. But we're collapsing.
Yeah.
And as much as I think climate change is the main problem, I actually think this is the main problem. We might psychologically collapse before we ecologically collapse.
I mean, we're already there.
Yeah.
Look at the suicide rate.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it, guys. Mango's done with us.
Yeah.
I'm so done with this bitch. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.